What's up, everybody? We're here with the part 2 of our week 3 recap. We're looking at the last 6 Sunday games that happened in week 3. Just kind of going over the fantasy implications, looking a little bit beyond the box scores, of why players scored the way they did to help you better in the future make good decisions. So, Dad, how are your fantasy teams doing so far this year? You got a couple dynasty.
Draft. I don't know. They're doing. They're kind of mediocre, So I wish it'd all get figured out on Sunday. But of course we got 2 Monday Night Football games, so I got games still in the balance tonight. So the old prediction meter is predicting I'm going to lose a game or something, like one of my fantasy matchups. So we'll see.
Yeah, which is nice. We do play a lot of our leagues. We play that extra game against the median, so that's always nice because, for example, in your in the dynasty league that you're talking about, you are right now the highest scorer in the league, and they're predicting you to lose. So you're potentially, second highest scorer. You're going to lose to the highest scorer, but you'll still get something because we play against that median. So I like that. I think most people should play that way. It makes it not just completely ruin your week. So, but yeah, we're going to get into it. We're going to be looking at these matchups, these last 6. Again, we base everything off a half PPR. And we'll just get right into it with a game that had a terrible over-under going into it. I think it was 36.5. It went way under. I think it was 15-10. Like how are these teams going to score? Patriots at the Jets. Mac Jones, whatever, like he should be on the waiver wire, 200 yards and a touchdown. I know both these defenses are really good, but man, Ramondre Stevenson, 19 carries, 60 yards. He had a catch, 4 targets, 3 yards. I think you're a little disappointed if you drafted Ramondre in like the 3rd, 4th round.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is RB14 on the year, so it's not like he's completely destroying you. He had double-digit points each of the first 2 weeks. Kind of a bust week this week. But they also played, some tough matchups. They played, the Eagles week 1, who are a good run defense. They played, obviously, the Jets this week, who are a good defense. It doesn't get better. They play the Cowboys and the Saints the next 2 weeks. So it doesn't get too much better. And then after that, so I think Ramondre, especially after the next week or 2, potential buy low target, in my opinion. I'm not really worried about Ezekiel Elliott at all. Ramondre had almost double his snaps. I know Zeke had 16 carries, but I'm not too worried about that. Dad, are you worried about Ramondre? You think it's just a tough start to the year, schedule wise, and it'll get better?
Yeah, I would tend to think, when the weather starts getting a little more lousy up in the northeast part of the United States, they're going to rely on the run game and stuff like that. Looks like they had a pretty good balance. New England had a pretty good balance of the run game between Zeke and Ramondre, and I think that's almost what you can depend on. And I mean, Mac Jones, he's not going to win you anything, so I'm not playing that guy unless I'm totally desperate, but in fantasy. But
yeah, for sure. The thing about Ramondre, you've had 15 carries week 2, 19 carries week 1. Both those games were closer games where they could run the ball a lot. 12 carries week 1 against the Eagles. They were trailing a lot of the game, but also 13 targets in 3 games is nice. That's over four a game. So, if he's going to get those kind of numbers, that's going to come out to 70 targets, and, he's going to catch a majority of those. So he's going to get 50 catches potentially. So not too super worried about Ramondre. Again, I think he's an interesting buy low target just because especially after playing the Cowboys and then the Saints. So nothing to talk about on the receiver side, nothing to talk about, Hunter Henry. You're probably pissed because you probably picked him up and then maybe this is the first time you started him this year. You didn't start him, definitely not week 1. Maybe you thought, week 1 was a fluke. Maybe I'll wait one more week. And then you saw week 2, he was good. And then he had 2 catches for 17 yards. So I still think he's going to be a top 5 tight end this year. We've seen it before with him. He's tight end 3 on the year. He's super important to this team. And I think, I think you just kind of keep firing. I'd start him over Kyle Pitts. I don't know if you feel the same, Ned.
I could see that. Pitts. Yeah, it's not happening with him. So these friggin' tight ends, man. They're tough. They're tough to juggle. It's just try to friggin' go with somebody and whatever numbers you get, that's what you get. Unless you got Kelsey, we even see Andrews kind of not doing as well. Hawkinson's okay, but anyway, I'll get off those tight ends, and it just gets. I know it gets frustrating for everybody though.
Yeah, it is. You're going to get weeks like these. It's just the nature of the position. But if you get 14 points like he did the first 2 weeks, which I think you're going to get, maybe not 14, but you're going to get 9-10 points from Hunter Henry more often than not, in my opinion. So don't worry about him. This game was gross. The Jets side, even more gross. Like, what are they doing? Like, is it just the case of, like, the GM doesn't want to admit he was wrong, taking Zach Wilson? Like, what are we doing? Dad, like, can you explain this? Like, Zach Wilson is not good. He's not a good quarterback. They looked they had 10 yards passing in the first half. I know New England's defense good. They're not that good. They're not 10 yards in the first half good. Like,
well, he was supposed to be holding a clipboard this year, so they gave him 2 years. They said, nah, let's get Rodgers in here. We all know what happened. So he's not, I'm sorry about that. He's not supposed to be playing, but he is.
Yeah.
And he sucks.
2 overall pick or 3 overall pick. It's like,
yeah, he's not going to have an NFL career. It's too bad. The Jets should have been a good team. They're going to be a mediocre team. They may get into the playoffs, and it's not going to be because of Zach Wilson or anything like that. So,
but the thing is, they're not doing anything to fix. They can't keep rolling this out. They can't get 10 passing yards in the first. Apparently, Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan reached out to them, and they did not. They closed. The only thing they've done apparently is check if Chad Henne wants to come out of retirement. Like, Chad Henne, come on, like, get someone. Like, really, seriously, like, Carson Wentz would make this. We would be so excited if Carson Wentz was on this team for Garrett Wilson in the run game. Like, they don't need much. They have an elite defense that keeps them in the game. They have 2 really good running backs. So you have a stud receiver. Like, they don't need much. They really don't. They just, wow. I just don't understand it. Like, you can't start anyone. I mean, you can keep throwing Garrett Wilson out there, and you hope that he's good enough to overcome the situation. And if he's going to get 8 targets like he did, okay, you'll get 5 for 48. First 2 weeks he did have a touchdown that saved your weeks. But I'm not throwing these running backs out there. Like, I mean, teams know that they just need to focus on shutting those guys down. Like, it's not a secret. Breece Hall did have more. He had more usage. Yeah. They're still using Michael Carter, but I'm definitely not starting Dalvin Cook. I think I'm kind of not starting Breece Hall either. I don't know if you feel the same, Dad, until you kind of see a little bit more.
Yeah, we're getting close, for and it's probably not Breece Hall, and it's probably not Dalvin Cook, and
no.
We've been, the Jets. It's amazing teams that invest high draft picks in offensive line, and some guys just don't pan out. The Giants are kind of like that in a way too, Jets, Giants, it's like offensive line, man, they can't block anybody. The defensive line are just whipping guys' asses and killing their quarterback and stuff. So
Yeah, it's so frustrating, man. Like, this is why backup quarterbacks are important. Like, another team is the Bengals. Like, you knew Joe Burrow had a calf injury, and your best backup quarterback is Jake Browning, who's never thrown like a pass in 4 years. Like, come on, man, go out there and get Josh Dobbs or Jacoby Brissett or one of these. I know they were signed and all that, but like, look at Andy Dalton. We'll get to that game. He comes in and he plays well, and he gives that team a chance to win a game because he's a competent backup quarterback who can throw the ball, who can be, who can lead an offense to score points. Man, it's just,
if I turn on the TV tonight and I see Jake Browning playing for the Bengals, I'm turning the channel.
It's bad. It's bad. I would sneakily, if I could get Garrett Wilson for like a very cheap price in redraft, I might do it on the hopes that they bring in a Matt Ryan or Carson Wentz, and then we're super excited about Garrett Wilson again, like we were with Aaron Rodgers. So just something to float out there. But yeah, not much else to talk about with the Jets. On to the Bills at the Commanders. Blowout game. Bills have looked good since their week 1 loss to the Jets. Josh Allen has looked good. He had 220 yards, 50 yards almost on the ground, 2 total touchdowns. James Cook, I'm super excited about the way they're using him. I think he had 60% of the team's running back carries, and he was getting 4 or 5 targets a week. You saw it again this year, 15 carries, 100 yards, only 2 catches, but that's okay. He's not going to get many touchdowns. That's just the case of James Cook. They're going to use Josh Allen, Latavius Murray, and Damian Harris in the red zone when they get down there. He could bust off a big one. He'll probably end the year with like 4 or 5 touchdowns. But despite that, he's RB13 with no touchdowns. So you're happy if you drafted James Cook. 100% you're happy. Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis, he had I think early on he had 1 35-yard touchdown catch. And you're like, all right, here we go. Gabe Davis again, he had a good week 2, good week 3, and he didn't have another catch. He had that 1 catch. So doesn't kill you if you started him. Fortunately, you get 10 points out of it, but you were kind of hoping for a lot more when you start the game off with a 35-yard touchdown. But that's just kind of who Gabe Davis is. Dad, Dalton Kincaid, are you just dropping him?
No.
At this point?
No.
You're continuing with, let's just say, you have 5 or 6 bench spots. You're holding 2 tight ends, and one of them Dalton Kincaid.
Well, okay. In that case, I'm plugging somebody else in there. I think the guy's going to be relevant in the Bills' offense. I don't know when. I don't know the comparison of snap count between him and Dawson Knox. So I don't know if he's playing the 3rd wide receiver. I guess I'd have to try and figure some of those things out, before we get drastic and start throwing players in the trash can and stuff. So
he's being outsnapped by Dawson Knox. This game, it was 41-35. Dawson Knox ran 1 more route than him as well. When they're out there in 1 tight end sets, it's Dawson Knox because he's a little more versatile with his blocking. So he has more versatility. So that's just going to limit what he does. I just don't think I don't know. I'm not carrying 2 tight ends. I think there's too much value out there of holding like a Tajay Spears or an A-Chain. Look at A-Chain. If you just kind of held on to him instead of 2 tight ends or Jerome Ford, look at the value of those guys compared to just holding on to Kincaid. I'm moving on. Yeah, you're right. He could do something, but Dawson Knox is still there, and that's going to severely limit his upside. So, but to the Commanders side, Sam Howell looked like why he was a 5th-round pick, 4 interceptions.
He sure. Everybody was kind of gloating over him a little bit, including me. But my God, I had a dynasty league. I had him starting. He got -7 points. I'm like, I have never seen from a positional player that many minus. I've seen defenses, -2, -4, and stuff like that. Maybe a kicker or something, but a quarterback, I'm like, my God, -7.
Literally better off with just not starting him. That's pretty bad.
Oh, I don't have a choice. And I mean,
no, I know. I'm just saying, like, how it shaped out, though, you would have been better off just not have, going one short on your roster.
Oh, yeah. And just get a 0,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
0 is more than -7. It's like, damn, I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, I'm not completely, we got to treat Sam Howell as kind of like a rookie. And you're playing against the Bills defense, which looks really good, to be honest. So, I'll give him a pass, see what he does this next couple games. He did look good before. Brian Robinson, just the nature of the game was not good. 10 carries, 70 yards. You're still going to fire him up because they like him and they're going to use him. I was okay with, holding out with Antonio Gibson one more week this week and to see, okay, in a game where they're possibly going to be losing, are they going to get Gibson more involved and I'm not just going to run? Nope, they didn't. So cut Antonio Gibson. This was the best possible game script for him to do something, and he did nothing. So that sucks. I just hope they trade him or whatever. But Antonio Gibson gone. McLaurin, again, this offense didn't do anything. McLaurin had 6 catches for 41 yards. Jahan Dotson, he was getting a lot of hype coming in, especially when McLaurin had that toe injury, thinking especially in the beginning of the year. Dotson, first round pick last year. I think a lot of people forget that. So he's 83 yards in 3 games. He hasn't had he's had 5 catches for 40 yards as his best game. Are you dropping him? Or are you giving him another week or two? And if you see this again, you're dropping him? Or what are you doing with Dotson?
No, it's the same thing I've said before. Teams, wide receivers 1, 2, or 3. In this case, Dotson, he's number 2 on the Commanders. You got to roll with him. Unfortunately, a lot of it's going to come from the quarterback. So, I mean, the same thing with Garrett Wilson and with the Jets. We know how good of a receiver he is and stuff like that. And you want to see a really good receiver. I'm kind of getting off track here. Look at what Devontae Adams did last night. That guy was the shit, But
everyone's saying oh, he's gonna suck. Yeah, we'll get to that, but no. But let's just say this: we'll see how the Eagles look tonight. The Eagles actually, I think, coming into week 2 after 2 weeks of the season, were the worst team against quarterbacks. So quarterbacks scored the most points against them, which is you would never expect that. The Eagles defense really good. Their pass defense has been terrible. We'll see how it looks in tonight's game, Monday night game. But if they look bad again, you get the Commanders, get Eagles, Bears, Falcons, Giants. 4 very good games to where the passing game should look good. And, if Dotson doesn't look good after a week or 2, I'm fine with dropping him, unfortunately, in redraft leagues, not in Dynasty. But yeah, moving on to the Panthers at the Seahawks. Andy Dalton, man, looked good. They passed the ball 58 times, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is the value of having a good backup quarterback that can make they lost the game, but they were in that game for most of it. Dalton was the reason why. Miles Sanders has been very disappointing to start the year, I'd say. He's getting a lot of the touches and a lot of the snap shares, just not really turning into much. He did have almost over 60 total yards with 5 catches, and he got a touchdown, which saved your week. But I don't know. He's like running back 18 on the year. It just doesn't feel good, I guess. He's an RB2. I guess that's what he's just going to be the rest of the year. Are you worried about Sanders, or are you just kind of this is what I expected from him? RB20, and I'm fine.
I think we expected a little more based upon his production in Philadelphia, and he just doesn't look like the same running, the same guy. So, Yeah. Oh, you're right.
all the rumors, oh, we're going to get you to catch the ball a bunch. And yeah, he had 5 catches. And again, like maybe it's in my head, I thought of him, and it still could be, it's a young season, but, I potentially thought like top 12 running back type of season. Like I can see it happening. He's going to do it. And then it's just, I drafted him with that expectation. And again, he's RB 18 on the year. Like that's fine. If you get that from him, that's probably right around where you drafted him anyways. So Adam Thielen, Dad, is he becoming a must start? He's had 2 really good games now. If Dalton's the starter, which he is going to be at least one more week, 11 catches, 145 yards, and a touchdown for old man Thielen, who's turning back the clock. That's 2 weeks now. He's wide receiver 7 on the year. He had 17 points last week, 26 points this week. Are you throwing him in your starting lineup from until you see otherwise?
Yeah, I would. I would give it a shot. Especially, I'll tell you what. If Andy Dalton's starting again next week, I'm putting Adam Thielen in.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah.
Handcuff, stack, whatever you want to call it. Do it on that case.
And he is. I think Bryce Young was at least minimum 2 weeks out. So, and even if Bryce Young's there, I think Thielen is the guy he wants. DJ Shark, I believe this was his first game back, or was it his second game? I can't remember, but he looked good. 4 catches, 86 yards and a touchdown. He had a big touchdown catch, which is, that's what DJ Shark does. So yeah, if Dalton's playing, I think both of these guys, definitely Thielen, maybe even Shark in a deeper league could throw a dart at him and see what happens. But Thielen is the man. Hayden Hurst, I was excited about him going into the year. I was excited about him after week 1, and then 1 catch for 11 yards. I would just move on from Hayden Hurst, unfortunately. Maybe his name will pop back up later on. Who knows? On the Seahawks side, Geno Smith was fine. 300 yards passing and a touchdown. Like, doesn't kill you. Doesn't win you weeks. Doesn't kill you. Like, what if you play 25 per 100? So what's that? 12 points. So yeah, you get 16 points in a 4-point per passing touchdown. 18 points in a 16 or 6-point per passing touchdown. Dad, Kenneth Walker. If we went back, knowing what we knew after the first 3 weeks of the season, Kenneth Walker is RB3 on the year. Where does Kenneth Walker go? Because I think he was being drafted. People were worried about Charbonnet. He was being drafted in maybe like the 4th round or something like that. Is he a fringe first rounder or top 7 running back? Definitely in the 2nd round. Where would he go in drafts?
Yeah, I would say definitely in the 2nd round. We'll see how the rest of the year rolls out. I think you called it. You said what you kind of went back to what Seattle historically has done. When they've had a 2nd running back, and you said, I think you said that that 2nd running back does not. He plays in his first year, but he doesn't. He doesn't become the man in Seattle. So, I think that's what you said, right?
Yeah. I made a whole video on it. Just kind of, I went back and looked at not just Seattle, but it was like every team from 2010 who drafted a running back in the 1st or 2nd round, who already kind of had an established guy there. And there was like almost no case of that running back that was drafted doing anything significant their first year. And Seattle had three cases of it. Christine Michael back in the mid 2010s when Marshawn Lynch was there, did nothing. Rashad Penny was drafted in the 1st round, and Chris Carson. And Penny had less than 100 touches his first year, and he was healthy all year, almost the whole year. So, and then last year, it was Kenneth Walker they drafted in the 2nd round. It was kind of all Rashad Penny the first 3 weeks until he got hurt. So, yeah, they're kind of showing that they are increasing Charbonnet's role a little bit as like a, the 3rd down, more of a pass catcher. But he's getting that passing down opportunities, but Kenneth Walker is just he looked good yesterday. I worked that game. Like he made some spin moves and jump cuts, and he's just he looked really good. And
I watched there was a play. They were about at the 10-yard line, and then they handed the ball off to Charbonnet, and he kind of went around the left side on the outside, was running down the sideline, and he met a defensive guy about the 2-yard line, and just knocked that guy into next week. It was just like Charbonnet's just kind of standing there like the dude's laying on the ground, and it was like, wow, nice old school play. But
yeah, he's a good player, and he'll get more of a bigger role, but I just don't see him. It's a good lesson for us to, like, we saw Kenneth Walker be really good last year, one of the best running backs in the league, and we talked ourselves out of it because they drafted someone, and we didn't even really know how this someone was going to be in the NFL. And I think Charbonnet is a fine running back, but we saw Kenneth Walker be potentially the best running back in the league type of stuff, top 5 guy. So I think if you drafted him and you got a couple round discount on him, you're super happy. Metcalf had a good game, 6 catches, 112 yards. Noah Fant, he's becoming potential streamer tight end territory. Like, he's had over, usable weeks the last 2 weeks. He missed week 1, but he's been, like a top 10 guy. So just when bye weeks start, think about that. But Tyler Lockett, down game, but you're not going to worry too much about it. On to another big shocker. What is the NFL? The Cowboys lose to the Cardinals. Cardinals have looked good. They could have, they were winning in every single game now. They've been winning.
They're playing hard, so, that's all you can expect. By all their roster moves and everything else, it just, it appeared that they were going to suck all year. And they may suck, but they're playing for their coach. That's all you can expect,
yeah.
I loved it. It was like, anytime the Cowboys are getting beat, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, this was potentially number 1 in the power rankings versus number 32 in the power rankings. So any given Sunday, but Dak, fine, 250 yards and a touchdown. I think just overall, like, it just feels like coaching just shows you how important coaching is. You see Miami, like, is Tua better than Dak Prescott? Like, just from a pure quarterback skill standpoint, I don't necessarily think so. Like, I don't think and if he is, he's not like head and shoulders above him. But you see what coaching does and weapons on the team and creative offensive scheming, and then you get Mike McCarthy, and this offense just does not look like, it just feels like it can be so much more. Like, why is CeeDee Lamb only getting 7 targets? Tony Pollard, I love him. He shouldn't be getting 20 plus carries where like half of them are coming running up the gut. Like, get this guy into space. Like,
yeah, he's headed for
I'm worried.
A lot of carries, well over like 300, I bet. So
tough carries too.
Yeah,
like tough up the middle carries. Like, yeah, I'm worried about that a little bit. It just feels like this offense could be so much more, and it's not going to be because Mike McCarthy is just not a very creative offensive coordinator, in my opinion. So again, why is CeeDee Lamb getting seven targets in a game where Dak threw the ball 40 times? He should at least be getting 10 targets, if not more. But nope. Jake Ferguson got 7 targets, just as many as CeeDee Lamb. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. But you're firing up all those guys. You're still starting Pollard and Lamb, and Ferguson is a streamer tight end, like, who's obviously going to get some target share for sure. So, anything you want to say on the Cowboys, Dad?
No, I think you pretty much highlighted it all. So it's just, my God, their defense was the next coming of the '85 Bears. So
yeah,
but it didn't happen. They got beat. They got beat by Joshua Dobbs, James Conner, Marquise Brown. So there you go.
Yep, there you go. But speaking of the Cardinals, Yeah, Josh Dobbs has looked good. He has looked good the last couple weeks for sure. 190 yards passing, a touchdown, 6 carries for 55 yards. Like he looks, he's kind of one of those, like he has nothing to lose essentially. So he's just running out there, taking on contact. Like he doesn't give a shit, who hits him and who doesn't. Yeah, so like he is fun to watch. I will say that. Is he becoming like potentially streamer worthy, Dad? Like I don't know. Like if he's gonna run for
if
50
he's
yards,
gonna run for 55 yards a game, hell yeah, he's potential. If you need somebody, put him in type guy.
Yeah, definitely. James Conner, I was worried about James Conner this week. He kind of shows that it doesn't matter the matchup. The guy is just going to put up points, 100, almost over 100 total yards and a touchdown. Again, like they're going to feed James Conner the ball, and he's going to do well with it. Marquise Brown, I kind of said it at the beginning of the year. Can he get 6 catches and 60 yards? And that's what he did this week, and he got the touchdown too. So he's, if you got Marquise Brown, like you're happy with what you're getting from Marquise Brown. He's a top 24 receiver at this point and getting volume. Rondell Moore looked good they gave him 3 carries, and one of them was like a 40-yard touchdown run, which is cool to see. Zach Ertz was a disappointment. I think a lot of people picked him up and started him because he was getting a bunch of targets. But yeah, Marquise Brown, do you think he's going to keep this up this year? Just like there's not really much else on the team, so he's going to get 6 catches and 60, 70 yards and the occasional touchdown?
Yeah, I think that's about, what he should get, or, and, the other 2 receivers are not bad either, we'll just have to see how efficient Joshua Dobbs is. 17 of 21. I mean, that's pretty efficient. So I know 17 caught passes is not a lot, but hey, it worked.
Yeah, it did work. And this team's going to be down a lot. They're going to throw the ball a lot, or they're going to be in these type of games a lot. So I'm fine with Marquise Brown. Like, it's just a solid wide receiver 3, high end, upside of a wide receiver 2. So 2 more games. We got the Bears and the Chiefs. Justin Fields, Dad, are you just benching him from now on, like until you see something?
Oh man, it's yeah, I don't know. There was a little bit of a running game there. I mean, my God, the media is just like, like, yeah, the Bears are probably part of this too. It's like, well, we're going to make him more of a pocket quarterback and stuff like that. And then Justin Fields says, yeah, he feels like a robot out there. And it's like, then the media is saying, well, geez, let him freestyle and stuff like that, and it's like, I don't know, man. You're talking about a big dumpster fire. This is not, and you know what? I'm sorry. Unless something changes with Justin Fields, they're drafting somebody else.
I think they should trade Justin Fields to the Jets and tank for Caleb Williams.
Trade him for Zach Wilson, and or whatever. But yeah, that's too bad. My God, Justin Fields at Ohio State, was nothing like this. So I don't know what's happened, or or anything else. You talk about something not happening in the mind, or not clicking, or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's tough to know. Is it him? Is it the coaching? And I heard like people saying like he's just not throwing the ball over the middle. It's all on the outside, and that's like a coaching thing. They don't want to turn the ball over, so don't throw the ball over the middle. And it's just like you're severely limiting yourself there. And man, 100 yards passing, like in a game where you were getting blown out and you needed to pass the ball. I'm definitely picking up another quarterback, a Jordan Love if he's out there or something like that. And I'm thinking about starting him until again, be careful about dropping him because it was right around this time last year where people were dropping Justin Fields and then look what he did,
1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind. So, but yeah, I don't blame you if you want to. He's losing weeks for you. You need your quarterback. You don't necessarily need to spend up on a quarterback to get the high end guy, but you need him to get you 16, 18 points every week, and Fields just isn't doing it. So, the running backs, because this offense is just always playing from behind, neither Roschon nor Khalil Herbert have had more than like 8 carries in a game. Again, this week, 8 carries, 7 carries. I think Roschon is the back to have, but if this offense doesn't pull things together, it's just not. Neither of them are going to be good. They're kind of being used like 55-45 split. I just think Roschon's going to be that back, but if this offense doesn't get things together, like neither of them are going to be useful. DJ Moore saved your week with the touchdown. Dad, what are you doing with DJ Moore? Are you you're going to start him because you kind of have to, or
yeah?
Touchdown?
Yeah, I would roll. You're not going to get huge numbers. You're going to get, there's got to be some semblance of a friggin' passing game in Chicago, and DJ Moore's hopefully going to be part of that. I mean, you could say the same thing for Cole Kmet. We went through this crap last year, and with him, do we keep him? Do we keep playing him? And, is he going to get any touches? And I don't know. It gets really frustrating. Go back to your draft, your fantasy draft. You need to be thinking about players who are in functional offenses. The Chiefs, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Chargers, and some of these other lesser known offenses, they're not producing, at all. So, and the players, unfortunately, we know the players are good, but let's move on.
Yeah, no, it's tough, man, because again, he's not even a top 36 receiver to start the year. Yeah, it's just, I'm glad I didn't draft him, I guess.
Yeah, me too.
And then Cole Kmet, again, we're talking about how bad this passing offense is. That's not that guy either to be starting. Chiefs side, you know what it is. Isaiah Pacheco, he's becoming a pretty good starting running back. He had a touchdown. He's going to get, I think he's had like over 12 carries each game, except for the first game maybe. The last 2 games, 12 carries, 15 carries. If he's getting that on this offense, he's going to get 60 to 80 yards rushing, unless he busts off a big one. You hope he gets a touchdown, but they are throwing him the ball more, so he's becoming like a flex-worthy guy. McKinnon had his 2 touchdown catches. It's hard to know when to start him. With these receivers, Dad, are you avoiding all of them? Is there one of them in particular you want to start? Rashee Rice, Sky Moore? Or are you avoiding all of them?
Yeah, I don't know. They're just, it's hard to put your finger on it. I guess we'll see. It's, Rice the rookie. I mean, he looked all right, and I thought he had a touchdown, but I know he dropped a big pass, but it didn't really matter because the team was laying the wood to him. Sky Moore, we're still waiting for the breakout of him. Justin Watson kind of makes it happen. Once every 3 or 4 games. So,
Yeah, they're all boom bust receivers. Hard to know when to start them. If you play in like DFS or best ball, you're excited to have these guys. Lineup leagues are really hard to know when to start them. So, it's just amazing. Like, you can have a quarterback who's like QB5 on the year, who's going to throw probably 5,000 yards. He's put up over 20 points in each week. He's averaging like 300 yards of passing and 2 touchdowns a game. It's amazing that no wide receiver is like reliable on this team, right? So obviously Kelsey is the main guy, 7 catches, 70 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. Chiefs are easy. Last game here. Steelers at the Raiders. Kenny Pickett was good. 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's fine if you get that. Najee Harris, man, just seems to like struggle to get a yard, right? Like,
just me and Brian were watching that game, and I said, well, look at the comparison. Najee Harris and what's the other running back?
Jaylen Warren, yeah.
Yeah, look at the way that guy just hits the hole and he's off. And Najee Harris, and going back to when he was, drafted by the Steelers, he was a perfect fit for the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just hasn't, I don't know. Does not look good.
It doesn't. So you're going to get the volume, so he's going to be like, you can throw him in there as like a RB3 type of player, but this is the weeks you could get 19 carries, 65 yards. And it was against the Raiders. Like, it wasn't against, I think we made excuses. Okay, week 1 against the 49ers, like 49ers, good run defense, blah, blah, blah. And then it was against Cleveland. Okay, Cleveland, really good defense. In this game, he actually had his worst yards per attempt. No catches, no 1 target. Yeah, it's getting rough for Najee managers. Like, if he has a big game over the next week or 2, try and sell him for sure. Jaylen Warren is becoming potentially start-worthy in like a PPR league, but yeah, he hold on to him. Maybe they give him more if Najee just continues to not do anything. George Pickens was fine. Calvin Austin had a big touchdown catch. Allen Robinson, not much to talk about. Freiermuth kind of had a Freiermuth game of 40 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, you're rolling Pickens out there. And that's really the only sure thing. I mean, him and Freiermuth, I guess. You're probably starting Najee because you have to, but if you can pivot off of him, you should. Definitely should. And then on the Raiders side, I mean, Garoppolo put up a lot of numbers, had 3 interceptions. Are you worried about Josh Jacobs, Dad? That he's not?
No, not really. I was watching him, the way he was running the ball and stuff like that. I know the numbers weren't great, but I think I like the way he was playing. So, Garoppolo, he was getting smacked around quite a bit last night and stuff like that. So I think he's even in concussion protocol today. So, but no, I'm good with Josh Jacobs. I know it hasn't been fantastic so far. Hopefully hopefully we're trending upwards.
Would you buy low on Jacobs then? Like, if the Jacobs manager probably hasn't started off very well, just because, Josh Jacobs was probably your RB1 or 2, and he's RB25 on the year. Would you try and maybe buy low on him and prey on the Jacobs manager starting off 1 and 2 or 0 and 3?
Yeah, I mean, you got to put a little thought behind it, that's for sure. And if somebody's willing to get rid of him, like, yeah, fuck that guy, I don't need him anymore, and stuff like that. And you can make the trade, in Dynasty for maybe a draft pick or a decent draft pick, 1st or 2nd round.
Yeah. Buy low on him if you can. If you believe in him, Devontae Adams, you kind of alluded to it, is the man.
Jeez.
I don't know why people are worried about him at all, but 20 targets, 13 catches, 170 yards. We're seeing crazy target number. 20 targets. I don't remember how often I feel like I've seen 20 targets more this year than I have in the last 5 years for a receiver.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua and,
Devontae Adams, the guy just looks so different than a lot of other receivers, and it's like God, how does he do that and stuff like that? And so
yeah, he's a stud. Trade him, damn it.
trade him.
No, he's fine wherever he goes. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. This guy's a stud. Jacoby Myers is another guy. Like he had 12 targets yesterday. He's had double digit. He missed week 2, but he had 10 targets in week 1, 12 targets in week 2. I think he's start worthy. You know, we talked about like a DJ Moore and stuff. I think I'm firing up Jacoby Myers over DJ Moore until I see something out of DJ Moore. I mean, Jacoby Myers is wide receiver 20 on the year, and that's with missing a game. By average, he's wide receiver 7. He's ahead of Devontae Smith and Debo and Stephon Diggs. Like he's looked good. So pick him up if he's on waivers, and I would definitely be starting him. So, Dad, any last words? What do you need tonight? Anything in particular? Points from someone or?
Yeah, I need. Let me just look at this.
I know. Yeah, go ahead.
I need. Who is that dude? I need. I need the rookie, Kyrene Williams I need him to have a 20-point game. So,
that's it.
I don't. Yeah, but the other guy I'm playing against has got like 4 teams playing today, so or 4 guys playing against me. He's got Hurts and Devontae Smith and Tyler Boyd, and I got lowly Kyrie Williams but I'm 20 some points ahead. No, I'm only about 12, 13 points ahead. So yeah, I need a little luck of the Irish tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I have in our redraft league, which is the league I care the most about. Started off well, 3-1. We play against the league median, but I'm down by 5 points. I have Puka Nacua. He has DeAndre Swift and T. Higgins. So like, normally I'd be like, it's not going to happen, but I don't know if Burrow doesn't play, if Gainwell gets more carries, and Puka does what he's been doing the last 2 weeks. There's a chance, definitely a chance. So. We'll see. We will see. But we're going to finish up there. You don't care about our leagues. So we'll catch you guys. We'll be back with some waiver wire shorts videos. We'll do a preview video, maybe some trade targets. So as always, like and subscribe. Catch you guys